New details involving the man accused in the murders of 3 members of a Riverside family.
Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan is live in Riverside, where relatives are speaking out about the tragedy just days after her sister and both parents were murdered. Rob?
Right. Well, just a couple of hours ago, we learned from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department that murder suspect involved in the shootout with them in the high desert actually committed suicide. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound during that shootout. We're also learning from Riverside police that the 3 murder victims found inside that home were found with their hands and feet bound with duct tape. As you mentioned, though, we also heard extensively from a family member during a very emotional news conference this morning.
If something like this horrific tragedy can happen here in our neighborhood, in our community, it can happen anywhere.
Fighting through tears, Shelley Blandon is speaking out after her sister and both parents were murdered.
This horrific event started with an inappropriate online romance between a predator and a child.
28-year-old Austin Edwards is accused of driving all the way across the country trying to meet up with a 15-year-old girl who he met online, pretending he was only 17 years old as part of a catfishing scheme. It ended with that girl's mother and grandparents murdered, the suspect using duct tape on their hands and feet, then setting fire to their Riverside home.
Catfishing led to the deaths of the 3 most important people in my life.
Blandon said they were out buying Christmas lights last Friday morning when a neighbor called them to say their house was on fire.
I couldn't get there fast enough. We left everything in the shopping cart at the store and took off. When I had arrived at my house, we had learned that something more tragic had happened.
Blandon's mother and father, Mark and Sherry Winnick, were murdered, along with her 38-year-old sister, Brooke, who was the mother of the catfishing victim. Police say they're still not sure which social media messaging app was used, and they're not sure how long the suspect and 15-year-old had been communicating. They are also unsure whether he'd ever revealed his true identity to her before the day of the murders.
We don't know yet if she was threatened, coerced. We're not describing it as a kidnapping at this point, but we also don't have any reason to believe that she was complicit in any of these murders or the fire as well.
Meantime, Blandon says the entire family is extremely grateful for the neighbor who called 911 to report seeing the suspect leave the scene with the teenage girl.
Making that call from that neighbor saved my niece's life, and that neighbor is a hero in our eyes.
The family hopes the community rallies around not only the 15-year-old catfishing victim, but her younger sister, both of whom are now without their mother and grandparents.
For my 2 young nieces who are now left motherless, we hope that this community can wrap your arms around them and lift them up. They have the most difficult journey ahead, as they are minors and they don't understand everything that has happened.
And Riverside police say that 15-year-old catfishing victim is not with the family right now, instead being treated by therapists with Child Protective Services. We're told autopsies are being conducted on the 3 murder victims. Riverside police not saying anything about cause of death right now, although the police chief did say it does not appear that they were shot.